But Viper, again, I'm surprised they didn't ban it out on the D2 Hustler side because it does just make the Timbersaw's life a little bit hard, but it doesn't purge off the stacks. It will be hard for him to sort of gank those lanes. And I do like the Void. I would have probably said it would have been good on the EgoBoys side, but again, they're sort of just waiting here for Rises to get a little bit of a leg up in that core matchup.
Yeah, it really looked like they were kind of ready-made for that Faceless Void. The Snapfire was already there. The Viper even could have thrown in stuff like the Nether Toxin from range to try and sort of take advantage of that. So might be part of the reason why D2 Hustlers decided to take it now, sort of a deny pick for their opponents. So that honestly puts D2 Hustlers in not an awkward position, but there's not really a whole lot to show for this Faceless Void right now. Obviously, with the two supports still nowhere to be found, I'm not entirely sure how well he's going to be able to sort of lane up, but it's going to do damage. It's going to farm well. You're going to have the Chronosphere that's going to allow the Invoker and the Timbersaw to land pretty much anything that they want inside of that Chrono. So I think it's pretty good for the D2 Hustlers side. And if you're EgoBoys, you need to be incredibly careful as they go in for the Sven with the 4th pick. So durability, damage, strong farmer as well. That's not a bad choice for EgoBoys considering what they're going up against.
Yeah, and it will feel a little bit bad when you have to contend with this Timbersaw at the earlier levels. But again, it's a hero that Rises can use to rotate out of the lane pretty early on, can sort of dodge it. And Lich, that is a strange pickup, but budget Snapfire, it's definitely doesn't feel fantastic, but that is damage to sort of throw in your Chronosphere. That is the first time I've seen Lich in a very long time.
Straight up forgot it was a hero. I mean, we have not seen the Lich in forever, but as you said, fills a similar sort of role to the Snapfire, maybe not quite to the same degree, but you can harass in the lane, you got a little bit of lockdown, and yeah, if that Chain Frost gets the right bounces, if the RNG is on his side, it can be devastating. Of all the ults that sort of we see sort of chained up in those team fights, you ever take a look at the Lich's damage numbers at the end of an engagement when that Ice, or Chain Frost rather, does bounce through? It's just kind of dumb. So no guarantee that the Lich hits that sort of big home run play every time, but the threat of it, no matter what, is going to give EgoBoys at least sort of some cause for concern.
And it might be the idea that D2 Hustlers have could be that we want another hero to sort of block the damage coming on from this Fen. We want to kite him around, have that hero in sort of our back pocket. And with the Abaddon and the Oracle taken out, those kiting heroes are sort of already gone. But we'll see how well this Lich does. I'm really skeptical, especially into Centaur. It feels like any of the lockdown that hero could sort of supply isn't gonna help at all. So you're really gonna be relying on Yuma and Papa Tootie to, again, be the sort of sole lockdown for their team, where you're now, I think, last picking 1437's hero. And yeah, banning out the Phoenix is a good call from EgoBoys, but it feels a little bit awkward, I think, now to be last picking his hero.
The ban on the Shadow Shaman as well, another hero that we don't really see all too often, and in the same vein, the Earthshaker coming into play for D2 Hustlers. That's one that they do sort of pull out from time to time. I think there were a couple of appearances in their TPC run with that Earthshaker pickup, but it's few and far between that we see this hero. But you were talking about the fact that there wasn't maybe quite as much lockdown for D2 Hustlers sort of spread out across the lineup. The Earthshaker is going to help on that front, and you do still have that sort of teamfight potential with the Echo Slam if EgoBoys get too grouped up.
And they do end up, let's see where they end up putting these heroes, because now, is this it's going to be a Kara Viper. Okay, so we've got a 5 Viper. That's a rarity to see. And alone, we did see the DK banned out first phase, assuming the puck was going to come way sooner. But I guess they got sort of what they wanted. It feels like they definitely cut some corners here for the EgoBoys lineup, but they did end up getting a lot of their comfort heroes. Alone Puck, Queen Tekka on the Centaur, and Rises Sven. This is all heroes that they've played before in this tournament specifically. So I guess it works. The Snapfire Viper dual support combo, I do not know if I believe in that. So really everything, it feels like it's going to be on Alone.
Yeah, that one might be a little bit iffy, but at this point, if there was any team that you were thinking if they're going to dip into the 5 Viper, it had to be one of the South American ones. I mentioned it, I believe, yesterday Still a couple of teams who occasionally throw it out. Obviously, the popularity has dipped, but there's still some potential here. We'll see what Kara can do, but it doesn't look fantastic right now. There's a reason why the 5 Viper already wasn't super popular before, even among those South American teams, and a reason why the popularity has dipped further. So, I don't know. If EgoBoys are going to be able to get this done, it feels like they're going to have to be led from the front. But Rises in Alone might be up for the challenge, but it is going to be a challenge. This is not exactly an easy matchup for them, but we'll see. I mean, there's some question marks on the D2 Hustler side as well. You sort of talked about the Lich, something that you weren't super gung-ho about, and the Earthshaker is maybe slightly less problematic, but still a little bit unproven in the current meta as well. So really supports across the board are going to have to show us something here in this game.
The only issue with that Theban Shaker, even though it is sort of a classic hero for him to be on, is that if you use your Fisher in any poor way, if you use it, you just throw it out there, that gives the puck pretty much free reign. You're never going to hit a puck with your totem, or at least you shouldn't, without maybe a cold snap or another ability locking him down instead. So Alone should have a relatively free time. He should be able to really farm up, get his Witchblade in a very nice fashion. Hopefully go Boots of Travel, because I do feel like the EgoBoys need a lot of farm this game. They need to sort of play in these side lanes, get their opportunities, play sort of a similar game when we saw yesterday where Rises was playing Sven, where he just farmed to a victory more or less. And Sven is one of the few heroes I think that can actually kill this Faceless Void outright. Same with the Timbersaw. If you can get those items, there isn't really a good hero on either side to push on that towers. The best hero probably going to be that Centaur with the return and that Timbersaw standing in front of carts. But aside from that, both of these carries really struggle to hit these towers without the enemy team being dead, basically. Both Void and Sven don't really have the nicest time.
All right, because of that, we may see more of an emphasis on some fighting in the early stages of this game, as they're going to need that advantage. You can't exactly just sort of sneak it in there, as you were saying. So some early fighting certainly sounds good after back-to-back matches where we had some serious split pushing going on, but we'll see how things actually play out. Right now, D2 Hustlers doing a little bit of scouting. 1437 was sitting up on that ramp, but he's not actually going to see much of an opportunity for this one. Rises was just sort of hanging back. Meanwhile, Kara and Tano, they are well behind sort of enemy lines here, looking towards
Oh,
the
they're
middle
doing
lane.
this again. They only do this when they get to be on the Radiant side. They just berate the mid laner. They force him to TP. They're just gonna sit here. Yep, and they're gonna TP to lanes. I've only seen them do this. They're the only team I've seen sort of get away with this either. It's very strange to watch. And Papa Tootie, he's yeah, he's gonna have to TP. A little bit strange.
Opportunity blinks first, decides it's not worth sort of sticking around, seeing if the EgoBoys players will sort of shove off. So that's his TP down. That's resources being expended just to get into the lane. So an interesting play from EgoBoys. It works out in their favor. Meanwhile, Kara on the run here. 1437 and Pandego going to try to lock him down. They get in with the fissure, but the Lich is still too far away to really help this one out. So they're not going to be able to get it, but that's pushing the Viper well off of his intended course. That's for sure.
Same time, Pandego is going to sit here and harass Alone maybe a little bit here. They've got the cold snap, so he does need to be a little bit cautious, but definitely not lethal damage in the mid lane. And he almost has his bottle already, so it's definitely been a weird start to this game. Whoa, Pandego.
Yeah, that's a tower, Pandego. It does tend to hit you. He is going to pop the salve, though, so he should be fine, but that was just kind of funky. I'm not sure if that was a late check for a ward or what, but he is going to take a little bit of extra damage, but it's not going to matter. Pop the salve, TP's himself top, and he is going to try to help out Yuma here, but this is going to be a rough one, I was going to say, as Tano is a bit off the mark there with the cookie. If they'd have gotten that initial stun, the hoof stomp is ready for the Centaur, and he was holding a skill point, so they could have potentially tried in for the double-edged play, but now Tano may be the one in trouble. That's an interesting time walk from Yuma. Doesn't really get him what he wants there, but he is going to get maybe 1 or 2 hits in onto King Tekka, but at that point, this whole play's just kind of breaking up. It's probably in everyone's best interest to sort of back off and cool down.
And mid lane getting a little bit scary as well. 1437 rotating. He's had a very big presence in this mid lane. whether or not Alone knows it, he's just been sort of annoying, being in a position to definitely punish him. Ooh,
Ooh.
Papatu's Courier.
Okay, Courier will go down. Papatuti himself trying to win this 1v1, but oh, it's not a 1v1 anymore. 1437 coming in with the fissure, but I don't know if Alone can really be punished for this. He does have the orb, so he is just going to try and jump away. Still trying to go for the kill onto Papatuti as well, though. That feels a little too risky, and yeah, now he's got to get away. No longer has anything to work with. Phase shift back up in 1 second, but it's not coming up in time. 1437 shows that persistence, and it does pay off, so... I mean, Papatuti loses his Courier, but who cares? That's first blood into your hands, but up in the top lane, Tano and King Tekka able to take down Pandago. So they at least get a kill going their way, but that is going to be a bit of a costly maneuver mid.
And it was all when the Llama was getting a huge wave sort of pushed into him. And having that small camp blocked up, Kara doesn't really have any play to get things going in his direction. And I don't think they're going to be able to get anything too aggressive up onto Kara, but Kara's sitting here and fighting.
Yeah, he's not backing off of this, and that may be a bit of a mistake, although Divine Llama, gotta be careful. Max stacks on the poison attack, so he's going to have to sort of sit back for a little bit, and he doesn't actually have a point in the chain, but okay. 1437 says, I'll do it myself. Pushes in with the totem, able to get the kill. Kara goes down, but now he has to get away from Rises. The Sven wants his revenge. He's trying to hold on to this stun for the longest possible duration, or longest possible time, excuse me, as he does push in for the stun. 1437 taken down, and it spills over onto Divine Llama there as well, so the Timber wasn't exactly able to sort of trade out any damage, as he was stunned up too.
Yeah, and it's saving the skill points on the Sven. It does hurt a little bit as Rises now has 2 points, but it definitely could be worse. Morbid Mask is also finished up on Rises already, so he's had a very nice lane so far on this Sven. But again, Divine Llama, he's level 4. He has had a very nice time. He's been getting all of that soul XP, and not much that Kara or Rises have been able to put out onto him pressure-wise.
Oh my god, Yuma. Just getting stun-locked in the top lane. That is perfect. From the side of EgoBoys, the Stomp, the Cookie, they hit him up with the Scatterblast as well, just to make sure he wasn't going to be able to run out on foot, and Yuma just never had the opportunity to bail himself out of that.
And now mid again, in pretty much the same fashion, except Alone has Papatuti way lower, just sort of sending him back to the base, while 1437 is just here to take XP at this point.
Now Alone, this time around, jumps in across the river with, you know, more than, like, a fourth of his HP like he had last time. But back up top, King Tekka and Tano trying to get aggressive again, in onto Pandago. That shield is buying a little bit of time, though, and Pandago should be okay. Yuma even came in with the dilation just for the further slow, but they can't turn the fight around at this point. 2 points up in the retaliate means that King Tekka can just sort of sit there and absorb that, and Yuma doesn't really want to commit for it.
And actually, Theban's here, but I don't think you're doing much to the Centaur Warrunner unless he really just decides to die. But you're out of mana on the Lich. You do have a Mango, but I don't think this is going to be enough. You might dissuade him from trying to get any more creep waves, but again, King Tekka is fine. You have this Vanguard.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to do too much. 1437 sort of at least tries to sort of convince the Centaur that he was still chasing, but at a certain point he realizes this is not worth the time commitment. So the Earthshaker will back himself away. King Tekka is going to be just fine, but now 1437 is starting to rotate towards that middle lane. The Clarity is going to refresh the mana, and maybe he can do something. He is going to take the Bounty Rune first, though, so economic focus before he tries to go in for any sort of kill. But he's going to be sitting here for a little while, and he's kind of just lucky that Alone doesn't actually rotate over looking for that bottle refill either.
And they're just looking with these wards, trying to keep that rune control. If they can, yeah, it's lucky. Spawn's bottom isn't going to have the Bounty Rune either, so Alone is just kind of stuck.
Papatuti's on the attack, though. He's going to try and rotate down here. Divine Llama, however, already dropping low, but Papatuti's in. They're going to give it a go. Kara hit up by the EMP, but it's not enough damage. With the Timbersaw already sort of out of commission, they weren't going to be able to make that one happen. So Papatuti rotates in with the haste, can't really make too much happen with it, and he's back to the middle lane before it sort of wears off, but yeah. At the end of the day, you don't give it up to the puck. So that's probably just going to still be counted as a win for Papatuti. He can secure the Timbersaw's life down bot as well, so just going to be a bit of a reset with that quick trip down bot. But Divine Llama still going to want to be careful. He's gone. Wow, okay, that's not careful in the slightest. Kara and Rises just jump in onto him, able to find the kill, but now Papatuti TPing in. They're going to go in onto the Sven. They hit him up with the Cold Snap into the EMP. 1437's in here as well, but he needs to get out needs to actually get out the fissure. There we go. Will deploy it, but at this point, fight's already broken up. Dream Coil was thrown onto Papatuti, and Alone and Rises, they just want to push in, going for the kill. They even hit up the Dust to make sure they keep the vision onto the Invoker, and that That was horrible. D2 Hustlers losing 2 heroes, one of them underneath their own tier 1 tower. And actually, if you include the earlier death onto the Timber, that's 3 kills for EgoBoys in that bottom lane.
And Devilama TP'd top to try and do something versus the strength heroes, but half a level before he hits level 6, he doesn't have enough damage, and it feels really awkward for the Hustlers. Is there anybody that can get here?
This feels like they're just trying to force it, and it's not going to go well. Pandago can't do anything. It's just a death. Devilama just lost his mind for a moment there. Not entirely sure what the plan was.
And before, we sort of saw the same story from the EgoBoys. It was 2k gold lead at 9 minutes, but now a 3k gold lead 8 minutes into the game. What is really going on here? This feels almost like EgoBoys are upset. They're completely stepped up their game.
I think that first loss may have pissed him off a little bit, and to a certain extent, that combined with some questionable calls from the D2 Hustlers has opened up, as you said, a 3k net worth lead at the 8-minute mark. It is harsh for D2 Hustlers, but they've got to try and shore this up. They really can't afford to be making some of these mistakes. Heroes out of position, heroes sort of committing to fights that they just straight up have almost no chance of winning. So it's not unrecoverable at this point, but you have dug a pretty deep hole in just 8.5 minutes. So we'll see if they can get themselves out of it, but they are on the back foot already, especially considering the fact that Rises has been really one of the main beneficiaries of a lot of these plays, as he is going to pop the ult and take down that tier 1. Ooh, there we go. Take down that tier 1
so
bot.
Many heroes.
But yeah, there's going to be the Chrono from Yuma. Where's the follow-up damage, though? Is there a shotgun from Dubai? No, he's not level 6. Papatuti does come in, though, with the EMP, but that sets up a loan for the Dream Coil, connecting onto 3. Illusory Orb coming in as well. Waning Rift will be committed. They even throw down the Stormhammer onto Papatuti, but he's not actually dead yet. Rises is the one who may be in some trouble. The bash coming out from Yuma. It's still not enough, though. He's trying to wait for enough time for that wand, but it's not going to play out in his favor. Rises will fall, and with that, EgoBoys are going to start to back themselves away, but Tano may not be getting himself out of here. Okay, Stampede's certainly going to help, but now Tano, he wants back in, going for the cookie stun, connecting onto 2, but who's going to do the damage? Alone has to try and get back into the fight, but he was out of position there, so his teammates go in without him, and they are going to pay the price. Tano's already taken down. Kara should be falling here as well, as 1437 comes in with the fissure. They lock that down. And now Alone is alone. There's 5 heroes here. He's just going to get bashed up a little bit. Trying to jump out with the orb. Does he jump to it? No, he doesn't. He's going to try to juke them out, but they don't fall for it. 1437 and Yuma still on target, and they will find the kill. So things kind of fall apart there at the end. It looked good for EgoBoys initially, but 4 heroes dead in the end, and it's not really going to move the needle too much net worth-wise right now, but D2 Hustlers definitely needed that from sort of a confidence standpoint and to just straight up stop that push into the bottom lane.
Yeah, that was just terrible. I don't know what EgoBoys were doing there. They had Stampede that entire time if they wanted to try and get their Sven in or out. It felt like there was a lot of indecision there. And at the same time, you don't have the Snapfire rotating immediately as soon as that coil comes down. That was a really, really peculiar turn of events. Ooh. And still, they maintained their gold lead, but yeah, the Devilama also dies again. But bottom lane, it's really, really peculiar. That was pretty bad. But still 4k gold lead for him.
Yeah, it's just strange, bizarre, no real reasonable explanation for it, but it's not going to cost EgoBoys all that much, and they get the kill into the Timber Saw almost immediately afterwards. However, Devilama did buy out. He got the Hood of Defiance there at the very end, and now his teammates are looking for a jump in onto the center. They're even going to drop down the Echo, but now here comes Alone into the fight, hitting up the silence onto 2. Mortimer Kisses flying through as well. Papatuti just trying to get away under the cover of that Ghost Walk, but they still see him, and he is dead. King Tekka comes in with the double edge to finish the kill, so just not able to get that, and they blow quite a bit to try and get that kill, and now they're not even done. Jumping in, Pandago, can he juke them through the trees? Not even a little bit. Stormhammer comes through, Rises finishes the kill, and well, D2 Hustlers just not quite able to sort of maintain that separation. When EgoBoys want in on them, they get in. Stampede used there effectively as they do pick up 2.
And now I just wish, this is what I was sort of alluding to, where they just love using Stampede off cooldown, and they like getting these picks. They like being aggressive. They're trying to get this mid tower now. Oh, everybody tried to deny it.
Rises will get the credit for it. EMP from Papatuti is going to get thrown down, but it hits onto really nothing. So EgoBoys with the tower pushing the lead past the 5k mark. So it's still a very weird game. We're 12 minutes in. Normally you don't see this kind of deficit this early, but it's not because EgoBoys have been playing flawlessly. Far from it. They have made quite a few sort of mistakes. The problem is their mistakes are relatively minor, whereas D2 Hustlers' mistakes have really just sort of set them back to sort of alarming degrees here. So no one's playing perfectly, but EgoBoys are making fewer and less impactful mistakes than their opponents. And it's got them in the driver's seat right now. And if you're D2 Hustlers, all you can really do right now is try to farm your way back into this. You see Yuma taking the Ancient stack here, but he's only got a Mask of Madness as top lane. Oh boy, 1437 caught out alone, wants the kill, and he's got it. The Illusory Orb comes in there for the final bit of damage, throws the tip his way as well. Rises, there you go, solidarity with your teammates. Doesn't matter what the tip was for, you back your teammate up, even if it's a little BO. But 1437 taken down, EgoBoys keep on pushing forward, and if Rises wants to make his way up here as well, the God Strength is coming back up. They could go for the tier 2. It doesn't look like he wants to leave the jungle just yet. Fair enough.
They were able to farm quite a lot of stacks there, but at the same time, it feels like EgoBoys are playing on 70% of the map while you're really just sitting with 4 or 5 heroes in this triangle area trying to farm these stacks. There's a Blink Dagger now on King Tekka. You've got a lot of big items on the board now. I think we're probably going to see, okay, he gets a Blink Dagger on alone. It was either Blink or bots coming out from that puck. BKB now on the board for Rises as well. Going to need 2 more components, but then they're really just gonna run at you. It's still a 6k gold lead. They're farming so much better on pretty much everyone. 14, 13, 7 and Papa Tootie are basically the same farm. I've been watching him just sort of ghost walked running around his own jungle. The ban is just allergic to creeps on Invoker. It's very interesting to watch because he does feel like he's very impactful. It just doesn't feel like he hits creeps ever.
And unfortunately, we saw this earlier today. It was a similar situation. Papa Tootie just would not really focus on farming, and it was to D2 Hustler's detriment. Papa Tootie just dropped off so significantly, and we're only 14 minutes in, and as you said, we're seeing a similar situation. That net worth is absolutely tanking to this point, so they've got to try and fight their way back into it. That's the only way Papa Tootie's going to get any money here, as King Tekka going to abandon the haste rune, going for the Stampede to make sure they can get themselves out of it. So Papa Tootie does have that, but he doesn't have a bottle, so the haste is immediately popped, and where does he really go? They could try to make their way all the way up top to going on to Rises, but they're going to actually need to spot him first, and okay, that was much easier than I thought it would be. Rises going to get jumped in on, slowed up by the ice wall. The EMP, though, doesn't actually hit him, so he is still okay for the time being. Cold Snap coming out as well. Yuma is going to just let it fly with that ult, but Alone is in there for the Dream Coil as well. Mortimer Kisses will fly through, and this is turning into a much more sort of complicated fight, but 1437 is going to make it simple. Jumping in with the ult, locking down 2. Rises will fall. Alone is in some trouble as well. He's going to jump out to the orb, though, but D2 Hustlers want to keep going, but here comes King Tekka blinking forward, going for the hoof stomp, but Pandago locks him in with that Sinister Gaze, but that does allow Alone back into the fight. Drops down the silence, they'll take down Papa Tootie, but Pandago is able to get the kill in exchange. So D2 Hustlers slowly but surely starting to turn this fight in their favor, as Kara will get blocked off, taken down, and EgoBoys really started sort of running out of heroes at this point. Tano turns around for a nice stun into the hoof stomp.
Goodness.
Jesus. That was pretty damn big. Yuma taken down, 1437 gone as well, but Pandago's still fighting. He comes in with the Chain Frost into another Sinister Gaze. They lock down King Tekka, and Divine Llama actually brings him down. So that was a clutch sort of series of stuns out there from the Snap as well as the Centaur, but it's not quite enough to win the fight. 5 for 3 trade in D2 Hustler's favor.
And it does feel like King Tekka was just a little bit too far away. If Rises got one stun off, Papa Tootie in the Void are just dead. Papa Tootie and Yuma instantly go down there. Nothing happens. Instead, they chain it up perfectly, and you got an insane amount of bashes, Yuma. Otherwise, that Sven just turns on you, kills you. It doesn't even look you straight in the face. There's no way that Rises dies like that if you don't get... I think he got 5 bashes in a row, something absurd like that. And that's why it goes as well for them as it does. But I feel like that kind of success isn't really replicatable, as once you have this BKB on Sven, all of that fear is gone. He's going to start playing on you much more aggressively. And again, we see Divine Llama. I don't think... Oh, he broke his own coil.
Timber Chain's going to get him out, though. So for now, he'll be okay. And King Tekka can't really chase at that point. So a good play from the Timber Saw to get himself out of there. There's a little bit more coming in from EgoBoys. Rises and Kara were sort of looking like the second half of a pincer there, but they don't actually go for it. Now Kara, that's a bit too far forward. I think he was trying to drop down this Obs Ward, but he's not really going to get the chance. He'll be locked down by the 2 supports. And Papa Tootie actually doesn't get the kill. Pandago will sort of take it from him at the very end.
Yeah, and you hope that Papa Tutti is getting these kills because now he's going for that Midas. He's doing sort of the invoker thing where you realize you need the farm now. And at the same time, alone, going for this Blink Dagger, he doesn't have that Witchblade. So a lot of that sort of subsisting damage is now going to need to come from that Centaur. You need to really have him in the same fight to get those kills with the max double edge. He does do a lot of magic damage, but now we're getting to the point where I can't help but feel that D2 Hustlers, they have at least something to respond to the aggression from EgoBoys. And again, if Alone isn't careful, if he does let himself get fissured, it's going to just spell his death. And oh, they're making plays.
Kara jumped in on butt. King Tekka is able to get in there with the hoof stomp onto 2. The Mortimer Kisses are flying out as well, but Alone is going to get trapped up inside of that Chronosphere. Chain Frost actually coming out from Pandago there into the Echo. That's a nice series of ults. The Chain Frost actually still bouncing. King Tekka taken down. Rises falls as well. Divine Llama is able to take them both down for the triple, and now they may get the Ultra as well. Tano is going to get stunned up and finished off as the Ultra does go Divine Llama's way, and that is a full 5-man wipe. They do lose 2, but if you're D2 Hustlers, you take that team fight every single time.
And it's this ward up here. They really were able to see everything. And yet again, I feel like, why is this happening? Why is the puck getting caught out? Yuma got that Soul Chrono off on him. Rises just end up killing King Tekka because they both walked towards Papa Tutti to try and finish him off. And while they get the kill, they both get traded out for it instead. Divine Llama gets an ultra kill. He's almost the most farmed hero on the map. It really feels like a lot of mistakes that are coming out from EgoBoys that shouldn't. It's a really peculiar game that's sort of befalling in front of us. And if you keep taking these heavy losses, you have the BKB on Rises now, but I really don't understand why we had to get to this point.
Divine Llama hit up by the Dream Coil, snaps it immediately, and will look to Timber Chain himself out. Stormhammer does connect onto him, though, so he is still in a little bit of trouble, and actually more than a little bit. He is not getting out of there. Tornado, though, in from Papa Tutti, is just a little bit too late. But this was sort of what what we were sort of talking about before with EgoBoys. They had been making sort of a similar number of mistakes compared to D2 Hustlers, but the sort of scope and nature of those mistakes were significantly less. The problem is, rather than sort of reducing those mistakes, EgoBoys kind of almost doubled down on it, and now their net worth lead is pretty much gone. They did get that pick onto Divine Llama that leads them into the Roche Pit, but Hustlers still have a chance to contest this. They might want to bring over the Faceless Void, but actually, if he doesn't come, I don't think they can actually fight it, but he is TPing onto the outpost by this point, though. It might be a little bit too late. Roche is already falling. Stampede, going to be committed, but nope, not going to work. 1437 tried to get into the pit. Rises, though, will be able to get the kill and the Aegis, but now Pandago throws out that Chain Frost. That is quite the bounce, as it's still going, but now it's going to bounce over to the creeps while the fight is starting to sort of peter out for D2 Hustlers. They've lost Papa Tutti and Pandago, but Yuma, he's trying to make something happen here, but he actually hits himself up with the Mask of Madness, so that was a little bit awkward, but he is going to be able to fall back with the Time Walk. Divine Llama falling back as well with the Timber, but Rises is still going here. He's got the Aegis, so he doesn't necessarily need to be entirely afraid, but his teammates aren't in a great position to back him up, as Divine Llama very nearly takes that Aegis out of his hands right there.
And they still might get punished for it. You even see Chrono coming back up. They're looking for a play. The Llama is still chasing him down. They still have the vision here.
Can't quite get the kill, though. Rises turns around with the stun, and Divine Llama, that's too far forward. Rises gets the kill. Kara now starting to get those poison attacks in onto Yuma, but the Faceless Void will Time Walk away before he can be punished, but just trying to do a little bit too much there, I think, for the Timbersaw. Sure, the last fight went well for him, but he's really by himself in that instance, but now King Tekka, too far forward as well. Can he actually get himself out? Meteor is not on the mark, but 1437 comes in with the stun. Yuma, though, was on the wrong side of that fissure, so they're going to have to keep on chasing for it. Yuma, no.
Oh,
not about
no
the chrono,
way.
but wait, is he? Maybe he should have chronoed after all. That's incredible that King Tekka is able to get himself out. And 1437, yeah, getting tipped by Alone. Unfortunately, the same fissure that was supposed to sort of secure them the kill is part of what allows King Tekka to escape.
And this is just an incredibly sloppy game from both sides. Divine Llama just going a little bit too ham, just killing himself. Rises just ticked out from both those whirling death attributes and then sits in a Viper puddle. And the Viper is honestly a pretty sick hero in this game. If the Void doesn't have a BKB, he can't bash. All of his damage is more or less gone at that point. He took the 300 health over the Time Walk damage too. So this isn't the crazy, I'm going to mom kill you, I've got a Maelstrom build Faceless Void. This is a much more measured approach because you do have damage to throw into that Chrono at least a little bit. but still, it feels strange. And at least
Papatuti
finally,
getting
yeah, he's
himself
dead.
hit up. He's not making it out. Mortimer Kisses come through. Tano gets the kill, and well, as you said, EgoBoys, I mean, they love it. They just never give up on it. The Stampede is just always coming out. If it's available, they're looking for kills, and that's part of the reason why, despite several miscues in these fights, they're still holding this lead. 5k up, they're able to sort of respond to those setbacks with immediate pickoffs in the jungle. They're keeping Rises farming elsewhere on the map, and as you were sort of mentioning, the build for the Faceless Void is going in maybe a slightly unexpected turn, whereas Rises just seems to be sort of still on track at this point, and it certainly helps that he's about 4k ahead of the Faceless Void in terms of that net worth as well. So that may be a bit of more of a tipping factor as opposed to the itemization. Is Zavai Lama? Okay. He's tried this a couple of times before. Last few times it's ended in his death, but feels confident pushing in this time around. Meanwhile, way to the east, Rise is actually going to get jumped in on. He's holding the BKB, though. Doesn't want to commit it until teammates are in a position to help him out. But where are those teammates? There we go. Tano's going to make his way over. Cookie will be deployed. Not going to actually get the stun. Meanwhile, Kara does get dropped further to the north, but now Yuma's in with the... Oh, God, he's in with the Chrono. They're going to take down Alone. King Tekka, there's really nothing he can do here. He has to just try and get away. Davai Lama, though, is going to be able to cut him off, so the Centaur will not be making out just yet. Nice stun in from 1437 with the Fissure. They're going to be able to take him down and actually clip Tano as well with that Tornado, but the Force Staff is going to get him up onto the high ground. Meanwhile, Davai Lama actually trying to focus in on the Sven instead. They want the higher value target, but the rest of the team did make sure they could secure Tano first, so Rises may have a chance to get away, or maybe not. 1437 in with another stun. Stun Strike will connect. Chakram's there for the slow, and Rises is finally going to be forced to activate that BKB. God Strength coming out as well, but I don't think that God Strength was fully necessary, but Rises thought he might have to fight for his life, so he does deploy it. It is going to get him away, but the cost for EgoBoys is way, way too high.
It's just so bad. It all feels so bad, and it really doesn't make sense. You have this Invoker with a Philosopher's Stone working on his Midas coming out now. You use your Sven ult now, of all times, to try and get a return kill onto the Earthshaker, which just uses your stun and walks away. I don't know what EgoBoys think they're doing on the enemy side of the map when they don't have Stampede. They keep getting chronoed on the puck. There's so many... What is happening? I just have a big question mark in my head because none of this really makes sense. I don't understand why EgoBoys don't take their advantage and just farm it up, try to push heroes out of their own jungle, maybe kill Davai Lama again. He's been playing in this top side of the map for so long. They were killing him before. Even though he has a Sanj, it isn't that hard. It really just feels so weird and alien. I don't understand the plays that are being made across the map.
Yeah, and I mean, that is, at the end of the day, sort of casting, we never want to be too harsh on these teams, right? But the decision making has been so questionable. I mean, we're never going to go into the direction of just straight up flaming players, but you got to start wondering, like, what's going on with the communication, what's going on with the decision making process. I'm not sure who the shot caller is, if there's one, or if it's sort of diffused across the team, but EgoBoys have been making some weird calls. D2 Hustlers haven't exactly been exempt from that either. They've been making some weird decisions of their own in this game. It, as you said earlier, it just feels so sloppy. This is one where you almost feel like we're 25 minutes in and neither team deserves to win this right now. Someone's got to sort of shape up and make something happen that looks good and makes sense, as EgoBoys will try it themselves. 5-man smoke into the north side jungle. We'll see what they can get here. They're going to make their way towards the middle lane. They've spotted Yuma. Not going to be able to get him. Time Walk gets him away. Papatuti, meanwhile, was able to fall back as well. And 1437, okay, that's a nice fissure, but they're not going to be able to get any further in onto Rises, or maybe they can. Cold Snap was deployed. It's not going to be enough just yet, but now the Yules comes through. Yuma holding the Chrono. He will deploy it now. Sunstrike coming through as well, so that BKB is not exactly going to protect him. Rises, though, still not dead yet. Popping the God's Rank, turning around, looking for the fight. Yuma able to Time Walk away all of that damage, but he's still not able to actually get away from the damage dealer himself. But Rises starting to get bashed up. That is some incredible RNG for Yuma, but fight's still not over. Rises goes in onto Davai Lama instead, but now he's dealing with two enemy heroes. 1437 locks him down with that totem, as they will get the kill. Papatuti falling as well, but they do finally get Rises. The problem is the cost is a little bit high. Alone picks off Yuma. King Tekka gets Papatuti, so they lose 3 for a kill onto the Sven, and I guess the buyback from Alone actually is going to sort of even that out a little bit more.
Looks like Alone will be able to clean up 1437, maybe? He's got Blink in 1. It's definitely a little bit harder than I think he otherwise would like it to be. Ooh, right into
That's
Tano.
Unfortunate. Blinks into the snap, but he's somehow still not dead yet.
Work with it.
Okay, they've got it now. Yeah. Only so far 1437 can really go. Divine Llama, meanwhile, over in the middle lane, was able to get himself a bit of a kill on to Kara's Viper. So the supports not quite able to make their way out of that fight successfully. That's going to add a little bit more to those tallies, but overall, it's still an exchange that I feel is pretty even in terms of at least the gold. Tactically, who knows exactly what happens now. We'll have to wait to see who respawns and what they can do, but not a whole lot being gained by one side or the other in terms of just straight up gold advantage.
Well, and at least Yuma is a Bash Lord, because if that goes in any other way, I feel like Rises just kills him outright there. They move on to the next target. And that was a buyback from Alone as well. He was orbing through, died, immediately bought back, got back into the fight. So almost an Aegis on the puck. But still, it just feels like such a strange game. At least neither side have sort of relinquished the map to just split pushing and doing whatever they want. But execution-wise, it continues to sort of be baffling. At least Roshan will be respawning in 30 seconds here, so we will see both teams be sort of focused around that objective. And with this BKB on Yuma, he can rely on his damage just a little bit more. Kara won't be able to put that Nether Toxin down and sort of put him out of the game. But here's Smoke Up. King Tekko,
there's a haste rune on King Tekka as well. Yeah, so he's going to move in. Move in. There we go. They're going to go for Papa Tootie first. He ignores multiple other targets to take down that Invoker. They do find the kill, but Papa Tootie quick to buy back. This fight already really breaking apart. Yuma is going to look for a target. They're going to get in onto Kara first. They will be able to blow him up, and now Rises BKB and ult active. He is going straight to work on that Faceless Void. Can actually bring him down, though. No, Chronosphere will be deployed, buying a hell of a lot of time here, but Tano actually not falling. The damage from Yuma is not that fantastic, but 1437 in there with the Echo Slam. They're going to be able to lock down a couple of enemy heroes, but they still need these kills, and they're really just not getting them. They finally bring down a couple there, as Tano will fall first. Rise is now dead as well, and the puck, not able to jump away. Divine Llama hits him up with the Timber Chain first, and that's a dieback from Alone. He's gone for 90 seconds, and now this is where it's going to turn. This is where D2 Hustlers get that definitive teamfight win they have been waiting for what seems like 10 or 15 minutes here. They will take it, and they're just in time to go in for Roshan as well.
And it's a very unfortunate respawn, and you're right, they did dive past a lot of heroes there to find the initiation onto Papa Tootie. But again, I feel like King Tekka is not patient enough with his Stampede. He keeps using it at the beginning of these fights to sort of move his Snapfire and Viper into position, keep them alive a little bit longer. But why are they sticking their necks out this far? I think at this point, you see he's got a Blink Dagger queued up on the Sven. If he has it, then he can make these plays sort of in isolation. You're able to jump Papa Tootie and two other targets, whereas I don't feel like enough heroes are getting stunned, enough heroes are getting locked out of these team fights, and while you did have to buy back on the Invoker, every single hero dies for it. It just feels so bad right now if you're on the EgoBoys side.
And the thing I find the funniest, or okay, maybe not funny, haha, but you know what I mean. For D2 Hustlers, they've got Yuma with the Chrono, they've got 1437 with the Echo Slam, but at the start of those fights, the first thing that they do, they all split. That fight, the last 2 or 3 engagements in a row, it has sort of gotten spread out. You see 2 or 3 heroes fighting in one direction, other groups sort of splintering off really in 3 or 4 different directions. But the point is, for Hustlers, they split first, they get EgoBoys sort of out of their comfort zone, and then slowly but surely they've been able to bring that fight back into the center. That's when Yuma throws the Chrono. That's when 1437 blinks in for that Echo. So they've been so incredibly patient with those plays, almost the exact opposite of the Centaur as you were sort of describing, as they're just all in at the start. As Divine Llama gonna get himself jumped in on, but that cheese comes out at the perfect time. Alone, he was still pushing forward, but at this point he may be too far forward. But King Tekka, yeah, he tries to blink in, immediately gets hit up by that Whirling Death, and he's gone. That was not ideal. His teammates were backing off as he tried to go back in, and Divine Llama will punish him pretty heavily for it, and now he's still looking for more. They're going to try and track down the puck, but Alone's able to back away, so instead they'll look to the north, looking for the Sven. No TP for about 20 seconds, so Rises has to get out on foot, and he may not. Hit up by that stun from 1437, and here comes Papa Tootie into the fight. 1437 blinking forward, dropping the ult. Yuma in as well. He doesn't want to commit the Chrono, but
Yes, Chrono.
he may not have a choice. There it is. Yep. Chrono will be deployed. Meteor, meanwhile, out from Papa Tootie into the Sunstrike. They'll take down both Rises and Kara. And EgoBoys, they're just going to get wiped out here. There is really no longer anything they can do. Alone's going to try to get away, but the Sun comes in. 1437 there for the follow-up lockdown, and they've got another one.
And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. It just feels so bad to constantly be forced into these situations where now that play to kill the Llama farming in his own jungle is impossible. He has a Lotus Orb, he had the cheese, he has a full Kaya Sanj. He even breaks the coil on his own Timber Chain because you catch him in the middle of it. And now you feels like you don't have the tools to take these team fights anymore. You're playing versus a Shaker, you're playing versus the Chronosphere. You have all of these team fight tools on the D2 Hustler side. You think they're going to kill Tano just for fun while they're pushing in on this tower. And the initiation coming out from EgoBoys feels so weak now.
Yeah, they just seem to have lost really any, oh god, any semblance of sort of cohesion with their lineup as that tier 3 tower comes under attack in the top lane, but D2 Hustler sort of spending a little bit of time trying to focus in on King Tekka as well. So with the split focus, they don't actually get the tower down, knocking off about 1,000 HP from it though, so it's certainly not an unsuccessful trip as holy crap, Divine Llama in there with the haste rune. They get the stun out from 1437 as well, and Kara, he's just gone. 45 seconds on the sideline, no money for buyback, and D2 Hustlers can just take a full lane of Rax here. Alone is going to try to do something, but the silence, it doesn't matter. Yuma really does not care. He's still got the Aegis in his hands for another 2 minutes or so, and they're just going to look to break this one open while Divine Llama, look at this, just running interference. He's got about 2 heroes sort of locked down in the middle lane. They can't really afford to push past him, otherwise they put themselves in danger.
And it feels like if you're EgoBoys, you don't have that Aghanim Scepter just yet on Alone. The puck needs that sort of lockdown now, because at this point, I don't think there's a situation where Ryze is going to be able to hit people. They have a 40-second window where there isn't going to be Chrono on Yuma, and they need to find the puck, they need to find the Shaker, and they're trying to find people in the back line, but
they really got to stop going in onto Divine Llama. That's just not working out for them. As they are getting in on a Papatuti, though, and they do find the kill. Alone's able to pick it up. Nice play for EgoBoys. Can they get any more, though? Pandago stunned up and taken down, but Yuma and Divine Llama continue to fight, but neither one of them have a whole lot of mana right now. But that Aegis is going to be expiring in about 50 seconds, so maybe they can sort of keep this fight going. As Divine Llama will push his way forward. He's going to pop that flamethrower, looking to do as much as he can, but it's not going to be enough. He will fall. The Aegis has been taken away from that Faceless. And what can Yuma do? Tom walks forward, gets the kill onto Tano. He does have the Chrono now, so he is going to deploy it. Kara in some trouble as he is not actually going to be taken down. With King Tekka rotating over, Yuma realizes this isn't even worth it if he could get the kill onto the Viper, so he will be forced to fall back. But D2 Hustlers, that's a massive mistake on their part. They're still up by 7k, but the Aegis gets used. They lose 4 heroes. They blow maybe not all of their cooldowns, but quite a few of them, and they really don't have too much to show for it. They get really half of the lane top, but they don't finish off that ranged.
And they did get the important Rax top. That's always the important thing to point out. But it feels pretty bad. They got 5-man wipe technically. Yuma did lose his Aegis. He also used Chrono unsuccessfully. So you're going to see the EgoBoys take back a large sum of the map. Yuma also trying to get aggressive, but with the Scotty, you don't overtly do that much damage. You have to stick on these heroes for a long time, and of course, you are very tanky, but it feels like the Scotty now, you have to stay on these heroes for such a long time, and that was the first time in this entire game, I feel like, where EgoBoys finally got the pecking order right. You kill the Invoker, oh, they doesn't have Chrono, we force them to do something they don't want to do, oh, the Theban is getting pestered by this puck. The puck makes it so that there's never a chance for that Echo Slam to go off. And it really felt like, for the first time in this game, the Hustlers were in EgoBoys territory, and they shouldn't have been. They should have backed off. They should have respected it. And they were on a hot streak. They were really just continuing to sort of bully the EgoBoys in their own land. But now, well, again,
they're going to jump in, getting onto the Faceless Void right away. Can they finish him off, though? Nice Lotus Orb play into the BKB. That's going to keep the Faceless Void fighting for now, but Yuma still doesn't have an ult, but he might not need it. 1437 in with the ult, connecting onto 2. They're going to drop down that Chain Frost as well. It's not bouncing fantastically, but it is still going to get the damage in. Both Kara and Tano taken down, so the 2 supports have fallen, and that is going to force EgoBoys to fall back, but this is a problem. Centaur, can he get away? Yes, he can. Divine Llama, he goes under the tree rather than over it. He had a Yule, so if he had the vision, they could have taken it. But rises. He's got a DD rune. Is he really going to be that ballsy? No, he is not. He will fall back. So the Sven backs away. Alone, though, still hanging out in enemy territory. Eyes on Pandago. Not anymore, though, as he will pop that Glimmer. There's a sentry, though. Yeah, there is. A sentry was in position before. Gonna step out of range, and now Alone. Oh, my goodness. He cannot afford to go down here, but he's going to get stunned up. Can he get out? Phase shift comes through. He's going to blink himself away, and he might just make it. That Spirit Vessel damage is still on him. And it looks like that is going to be enough to finish the kill. So Alone very nearly gets himself out, but in that instance, I'm not really sure what there was to gain in the first place. Yuma chronoed in the bottom lane.
He was trying to get Rises being greedy, but yeah, I don't really understand how Alone continues to get caught the way he is. And even that jump onto the Void, and look now, setting up onto King Tekka top. He has a Radiance?
Yeah, he bought that Radiance. It came out to him about a minute ago. Teamfight sort of broke out before I could mention it, but he's gone for it. I don't know if I entirely understand the reasoning why. We're about 37 minutes in. It seems like the Radiance is a bit of a strange one, but the decision's already been made, so he's got it. But now he is going to try to get away at 1437. Won't let him go. Stuns him up. They need someone else to do damage here outside of 1437, but reinforcements are coming. Divine Llama is making his way over. They've got Papa Tootie getting over here as well. Nice blink, though, from the Centaur, and, well, that's a problem.
Cataclysm.
Yeah, we'll spot him out no matter what, as they are going to jump in, and now King Tekka will finally fall. He made him work for it. We'll give him that much, but at the end of the day, he is still dead, and he's gone for 80 seconds. There's no money for buyback on that Centaur.
And you do see that Sven looks like he is just going to buy out this Daedalus, and then maybe there is a chance where he will be able to kill a hero that isn't the Invoker. He's had several opportunities, I think, to make passes to Yuma, but at this point, if he's not good at killing you, he is very good at surviving. With 4k HP, more or less, unless Yuma really messes up and silences himself, he should just be fine. He's actually just going to bully the Viper.
Good force staff from Kara, getting onto the low ground, and at this point, I don't know how much further Yuma wants to take this, but okay, never mind. If Tano's not going to help, if Alone's not going to push in, then that's really not all that threatening of a play. Yuma simply gets the kill, and EgoBoys in this situation are just going to have to sort of back themselves away. They're too split up to really converge for the fight, but Rise is still trying to get the split push going. Over in this bottom lane, he's going to push out an extra wave or two before he finally TPs home.
Tornado? On the mark.
Yeah, on the mark, just not quite in time. So good instinct from Papa Tootie, but timing-wise, not quite there. But if Papa Tootie can hit some of those spells further on down the line, obviously in that situation it's just Rises, but if they can get that down into the team fight, he is starting to build up more and more damage. We saw the Cataclysm out earlier on to spot out that Centaur, so the damage output for the Invoker is sort of finally here with that maxed out Exort.
And now Yuma just sieging the tower without Kara to put down those nether toxins. He feels really confident, especially in his damage. And yet again, we saw when they tried to go on him mid, it's been sort of a sick play. They've been doing the coil snaps. The issue is there's no force staff on the puck, so it has to come in from Tano. And if they just move in just the wrong direction, they're all landing on a play that may or may not happen depending on where or which direction that hero is facing. I don't think the puck has a shard either, so it's even harder to sort of get that knockback play, even though they absolutely need it. But now, I think if they go to this top room, they're going to scout out a DD and Roche respawn. So we're coming towards the plays at the end of the game, I think. Right. No buyback on Sven either.
They are legitimately attempting to turn this Centaur into an actual damage dealer. They've given him the shard for the double edge upgrade. He's purchased a Radiance. He's holding the Penta Edge sword. Popped. So we'll see if King Tekka can do a little bit more here damage-wise, as that Stampede is not going to be good. Yuma hits the Chrono. Alone just can't seem to avoid those. He keeps on getting locked down, and oh my god, King Tekka, he's just gone. Yuma absolutely annihilates him, and at this point, EgoBoys, they're just in full retreat. Tano's going to try to get away, but he's not going to make it very far. Yule Scepter locks him down. Chakram is going to be thrown through, and that's going to be Tano dead. Kara now in trouble as well. The bash is out from Yuma. Triple kill for the Faceless Void. Buyback status is not good for EgoBoys, and this might just be the end of it. If they can't sort of keep themselves safe here, as Rise is, he's not going to make it out. He's dead. Rises is gone. He has no buyback. I think that's just the game.
I really don't think there's anything else. I don't know why you don't have boots of travel on the puck, so even if you did want to buy back and get into a Roche fight, Alone has left the game.
Hey,
yeah,
come on.
They're just out. I don't know what just happened.
That's not a good look.
Nope, not at all. Pause is gonna... Yeah, someone's got to unpause on their side, but 4 players out. Kara's the only one with the balls to stay in the lobby, but this is, okay. D2 Hustlers 2-0.
Alright. And I know it's turned into a meme, but I do legitimately mean it when I say it here. You hate to see it. We're not going to harp on it too much. That's just not okay. The sportsmanship there is sort of taking a dive as EgoBoys. I understand the frustration, but at a certain point, you still do kind of owe it to your opponents to just stand in there and wait the 10 seconds for the GG to actually take effect. So that one sort of feels kind of bad. But in terms of the actual game itself, D2 Hustlers, an impressive performance to get themselves that second straight win.
Yeah, and Davai Lama, 26 and 12, he really held down the fort. And of course, it was a pretty good Timbersaw game coming from the start there, even though you were playing into that Viper. Still playing it versus the Snapfire and the Centaur, seeing that first, it felt pretty nice. And he definitely had a few situations where he was definitely baiting with the resources he had, forced them to overextend for sure. I think really Davai Lama MVP there. And Yuma consistently finding those picks on the heroes that ended up mattering, not getting too impatient, being able to kill Rises off whenever his BKB was off cooldown. I don't think there was ever a time when Rises was really able to get that BKB off and sit in the chrono, but even if that does happen, still feels pretty bad. But yeah, pretty good game.
Yeah, impressive stuff from D2 Hustlers, despite the fact that Papa Tootie was kind of slow to start there again, and at the end of the game, 3 and 9, 26 assists obviously sort of means he still has an impact, but first time around when the Invoker struggled, they weren't really able to make up for it. This time though, Yuma and Davai Lama, as you were saying, in the position to sort of lift their teammate up and kind of carry him later into the game where he could really start making more of an impact. So solid stuff from D2 Hustlers. That is going to be back-to-back victories for them as they do complete that clean 2-0 sweep. And with that, they're done for the day. 3 points across 4 matches, so not quite flawless, but about as good as you could probably reasonably expect for them, as they are going to move their way up the standings. Meanwhile, for EgoBoys, this loss is going to hurt them a little bit. 0-2 now up against D2 Hustlers, and the thing for EgoBoys, and part of the concern as well with that sort of disconnect GG at the end, is that they're not actually done yet for the day. EgoBoys have one more series left to play. They are going to be taking on, though, one of their own regional rivals. They will be taking on Infamous in that final best of 2. So EgoBoys have struggled to this point in the event, but maybe going up against an opposing team that I think they're a little bit more familiar with could put them in a slightly more confident position. But we're going to need to see more from them. Really, that's it at the end of the day. That's the long and the short of it. They cannot afford to really put up too many more empty series. So we'll see if they can get themselves into the right headspace here. After that 0-2 loss, morale should be relatively low, but the chance to bounce back, try and get a victory against a regional rival, and try to salvage some sort of run here to kick off the second half of the schedule. So we'll see how it plays out. EgoBoys will be in action once again against Infamous. We should be starting that one up relatively soon here. I think the break is going to be maybe a bit shorter this time around, but either way, as soon as game 1 of that series gets started, we will be bringing the draft your way. So stick around, get yourself maybe something to drink, something to eat, and we'll be back for that final series in just a little bit.